Hi, my name is James, and I'll be talking about a paper that I chose to discuss in more detail related to the topic I chose. I chose the topic of the influence of violence in the media on behavior because it is quite a prevalent debate in current society. There have been many events that have sparked this debate, from the Columbine shooting 10 years ago to the Colorado cinema shooting that occurred only 2 years ago. The research paper I choose even cites a statistic that an average of 8 violent incidents are viewed by children per hour. The paper that I chose to discuss in detail is the Childhood and Adolescent Television Viewing and Antisocial Behavior in Early Adulthood, published by the Pediatrics, the official journal of American Pediatrics. This study is the most relevant to the topic as it attempts to establish a direct relationship between violent media, in this case television, and the supposed aggressive or antisocial behaviors displayed later on in life due to exposure to such content. The study may help guide further research into the area. There has been much research done on this issue. However, many have been disputed due to poor experimental designs, low validity, or unreliable data. Many theories have been put forward regarding the observation of violent media content and the retention of such behavior in children. One is observational learning, whereby simply observing violent behavior, a child will mimic it. This has also led to the discovery of a mirror nerve in the brain, where mimicking is processed. Another idea is the social cognitive information processing model, where the concepts of social scripts, world schemas, and normative beliefs are integral to a child's learning and how they behave later on in life. Social scripts are a set of rules that describe how to deal with a variety of situations. World schemas are a database that are developed and compromise of the attributes of others, and it guides how the individual sees the world. Finally, normative beliefs are how we interpret the behaviors of others to search for scripts and to filter out inappropriate scripts and behaviors. The social cognitive information processing model suggests that these interact with the external world and with each other in a complex manner that dictates our behavior. This research may draw on some of these theories and their applications, as this is a longitudinal study analyzing the effects of observed violence for both children and adults. Lindsay A. Robertson, Helena M. McAnally, and Robert J. Hancox are the authors of this research. They are from the Department of Preventative and Social Medicine, Dunedin School of Medicine, and the Department of Psychology from the University of Otago, Dunedin, New Zealand. The aim of the study was to investigate whether the viewing of television, particularly excessive viewing, is related to antisocial behavior in adulthood. It was hypothesized that the time spent watching television during childhood and adolescence is associated with antisocial behavior in early adulthood. Therefore, as I mentioned before, attempting to establish a direct link between the two concepts. A longitudinal design was used, with the administration of certain tests to measure certain variables. The participants consisted of 1,037 children, all born in Dunedin, New Zealand, from 1972 to 1973. The study took place from their birth to when the participants were 26 years of age. 52% were male and 42% were female. A baseline test was taken for early antisocial behavior. This was measured by observational studies by trained interviewers. Such behavior was typified by irritability, disobedience, and distractibility. It was done alongside a survey conducted by the researchers on participants, ascertaining the mean television viewing for each week per weekday for children at the ages of 5, 7, 9, and 11. Tests were also taken by the participants when they were at the ages of 5, 18, 21, and 26 to test for aggression or antisocial behavior. The tests used at the different ages were the Rudder-Child scale, referring to behaviors such as bullying, disobedience, and destructiveness. This was given at 5 years old. When the participants were 18 years old, the Multidimensional Personality Questionnaire, or MPQ, was used, focusing on the aggression scale. When the participants were 21 and 26 years old, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, 3rd edition, or DSM, was used to diagnose any antisocial personality disorders, focusing on symptoms present in the last 12 months. Data was also taken from the New Zealand courts, including information from the Young Persons Court for convictions for children aged between 13 and 16 years, and the Adult Criminal Court for those aged between 7 to 26 years. Convictions were categorized according to whether they were violent in nature, for example, aggravated robbery, assault with intent to injure, manslaughter, or rape. IQ was also measured at ages when the participants were at the ages of 7, 9, 11, and 13 years. This was done using the Wechsler Intelligence Scale. A mean was calculated across these ages. This was done along with a survey of socio-economical status and parental control using a self-report method and the family environmental scale. Analysis was then adjusted according to these measurements, allowing for control of extraneous variables such as participant demand characteristics. The results of these tests were then compared with the mean television viewing time per weekday. The results were then graphed. Approximately 20% of boys and 5% of girls had criminal convictions by the age of 26 when they watched a mean of less than 2 hours of television per weekday in their childhood. Approximately 35% of boys and 10% of girls had such convictions when they watched a mean of more than 3 hours of television per weekday. It can be seen from this graph that there is quite a strong positive correlation between the mean television viewing times and criminal convictions. Similarly, approximately 8% of males that watched an average of less than 2 hours of television per weekday were diagnosed with an antisocial personality disorder, according to the DMV, compared to approximately 16% of males who watched more than 3 hours of television per weekday. Boys who watched less than a mean of 2 hours of television per weekday scored 0.2 on the positive emotion scale on the MPQ, whereas boys who watched more than a mean of 3 hours of television per weekday scored 0.3 on the negative emotions on the MPQ. From these results, the researchers said that the time spent watching television during childhood and adolescence was significantly associated with criminal convictions and diagnosis of an early adulthood and antisocial behavior for males and females. These findings were statistically significant. However, this is not to say that the study is without limitation. A limitation of the study is that it was not monitored what programs were viewed by the researchers. There may have been an element of low validity, as researchers could not be certain that it is viewing violence that contributes to antisocial behavior. Reduced social interaction with peers and parents, poor academic achievement, and an increased risk of unemployment have all been found to be associated with higher television viewing time, however, quite unrelated to violent content. Also, and I quote, "The landscape of television has changed over time during the course of the study. This may have perhaps skewed the validity of the research as well. However, a strength is that variables such as IQ, socio-economical status, and family control were taken into account when analyzing the data. This may have controlled extraneous variables such as participant characteristics. It was therefore concluded by the researchers that there is a strong positive correlation between the time watching television in childhood and adolescence with antisocial behavior in early adulthood. It is therefore, and I quote, a priority for public health to identify ways to reduce children's and adolescent television viewing." Thank you for listening.